The next day, Arthur had already made both Maury and Talia's breakfast, but was working on fixing the damage to her home from the whole incident from last night. When the two misfits finally woke up, Arthur was using low-level magic to fix it this time, as she was in a deep thinking mood over the events from last night. First to the snow monster, and then to the prince she danced with, but the repairs were the lowest level, where she was usually using actual tools and supplies to fix her home like a regular unicorn mare who was skilled in everything needed to repair a destroyed section of her living room's home. Arthur stopped her work to return inside and make them both school lunches, but said right as they were about to leave, "Hold on, I need to talk to Tellius for a moment, alone." Okay, said Tellius, before Maury went on ahead, before she turned to her mom. "Look, I know you told me not to reveal myself until it's time, but I had to." "It's not about that, and I'm not mad. I would have done the same thing in that situation," said Arthur. Before sitting down on the couch, she let out a sigh. "I know you heard everything, and I want you to understand that despite what you heard, I still love you. I don't regret having you as my daughter." "I know, and I understand why you're trying to protect us both," said Tellius with a loving smile. "Yeah, and a lot happened last night that had me thinking about our future. I'm sticking to this one as my final decision," said Arthur, while pointing with a hoof to her chest, and her daughter quickly guessed what she was talking about. "Also, I think it's finally time I've shown you the real me. You okay?" Tellius nodded while her tail wagged, showing her excitement. Arthur's body began to glow, and in a flash she had changed her form. She was in a form that was floaty and kind of a golden and glowed a little. Arthur had these big eyebrows and glowing golden eyes, horns and fins on top of her head that looked like a hornken's crown, a goldfish like a tail where her hind legs should be, and monkey paws and what appeared to be sleeves. "This is what I really look like." "Wow, Mom, you're amazing. I could get used to seeing you like this," said Tellius, before jumping into her mother's arms and giving her a hug. "Thanks. Now off you go to school," said Arthur, before Tellius left to join with her friend, while Arthur returned to her pony form and went back to work on the repairs of her home. May she never change. Arthur went to her yard near where the damage was and spotted something caught in a nearby tree that looked like hair. What is hair doing in a tree? Wait a second, the aftermath of a spell here, a summoning spell, Arthur thought, and frowned. Arthur went over to Princess Twilight's house and got her to analyze the hair she found in the tree, as Spike said, while they waited in the living room reading a book.
"So you're finally sticking to that after all this time?"
"Yep," said Arthur, who figured out that Twilight had told him about her powers. Princess Twilight came out of her own lab and said, while giving her back the samples, "Where did you find these hairs?" "In a tree near my yard. It was right after the incident with the snow monster." "Do you know what it is?" asked Arthur, who was curious. "Well, I've identified it as two different sets of hairs. One from a brown bathrobe made of fur," said Princess Twilight with a curious thought. "The other is feline, from a large cat, possibly cougar, which is strange since you could only find predators in mountains or the ever-free forest." "Cat hairs, Katrina," hissed Arthur while looking angrily at something, but then noticed they heard her. "Look, I have a shadowy past and made a few enemies, one of which has elemental powers and most likely would allow her to be able to summon something like a snow monster. Katrina, a cat-like creature that likes to dress up in brown bathrobe and has quite the temper. She is usually not the type to hold a grudge, so I suspect someone put her up to it." "Like another one of your old foes, possibly someone who is a local if she's not from around here," asked Spike, who couldn't believe Fluttershy nearly went up against such a creature. Possibly. I've suspected only one is in town due to his ability to reincarnate, but I have yet identified who he is here, said Arthur, who decided it may be time to involve the local heroes. So, do you think you can help me find out who it is? Not only was Fluttershy threatened, but my own daughter as well as her friend. Yes, although it would help if we had more information on who this other enemy of yours is, said Princess Twilight, who thought it would be best to help in case of an incident like this ever happened again. Well, his reincarnations always reflect the negative title of his for his color scheme, the gray, said Arthur before, who could only name a few ponies. To be continued.